Good day and welcome to the second part of graphic design course. Don't forget that currently we're trying to get to familiarize ourselves with what the workspace of Photoshop is all about, the window, the tools, the parts of Photoshop and what they do, what they serve for, their function. Now today we're going to be, remember the last video, the part 1 video. If you've not watched it, please go and watch it. I'm going to leave a link in the description. This is Techkea. Don't forget to subscribe. Now in the last video I told you that I was going to tell you what layers is all about. What does these parts you're seeing here, what it does. Now layers is a very important part of Photoshop. In fact, it is part of your design. It aids your design, it beautifies your design when you understand how to make use of layer on Photoshop. Now basically, among these little window parts I have here, paragraph, history, layers is practically the most important part of this. Now I'm going to show you how to use layers, and then I'm going to go deep into explanation on further design tools that are actually hidden. You just have to access it in some different parts of the Photoshop, which is very easy to access. Now moving on to layers, let me just quickly hide this. Now in this layer part, you see this place that looks like eye. What I mean by eye is oju, this eye that you are seeing here. You see something like that. Now if I click on it, what it does is to temporarily make it disappear. Let me put it that way. Now look at this, Naija is good. Let me click on this eye. Now what do you see? Naija is good disappears. Now look at this black box you see here, this particular one. Now this is where it is. Now let me click on this. Look at this image, this is where it is. Let me click on this. Now you could discover that everything that I did here has already disappeared. Now but when I click them back, they actually appear. Now let me show you something. Let me increase the opacity. The last course I talked about opacity. If you've not checked it, please do check it. Now as I just increase the opacity, and you discover that this black that was once transparent is no more transparent. Now let me slide down this particular triangle. What did I do? I just came here and I clicked and I held on this particular layer. Now I want to bring it up. I'm taking it up. What do I mean? I'm dragging this layer up. Now as you can see, the text that I wrote, Naija is a good place to be, just disappeared. Now let me remove this. Now you can see that it's still there. Let me put it back. Now let me show you something. Do you discover that it is staying behind this black rectangle? It is staying behind the black rectangle, which means this layer controls what pops out first, what precedes it, and what shows last when it comes to the forefront of your design. What do I mean? If this is my hand and I put this hand behind this second hand, now you can't see it. Now what if I do something like this? You can see it. Do you understand? So that's simply how the layer works. It's just like my face shows, and then someone of my height is staying behind me. Now what if I stoop down a bit? You are going to see the person. But if I stand up, you are probably could block the person. If I delve to the right and the person is still standing vertically straight, you're going to see the person. So you see, when you're designing, you could make use of stuff like that. Now look at this. As I dragged on the black triangle, you could see that Naija, look at this, Naija is a good, I bring this down, place to be. So basically that's what the layer is all about. Now let me introduce other layers. Let me hide this in the meantime, and then let me introduce another text layer. Now let's just say Naija is a good place to be. Let me write, is that true? Is that true? Sorry, Is that true? Let me give a question mark just to make my the design actually nice, or what I wrote, just to make it to make sense. Now, as you can see, I wrote, is that true? Now when I brought it, now let me change this color. To change this color, you just need to double click on this. Sorry, we'll move to this part in this video, so just stay hold. Now all you just need to do is to come here, click on this, double click on this big T. You see this big T, just double click on it. Now as you can see here, they wrote color. Don't forget, I told you in the last video that everything that has to do with this place has to do with what you're writing, the text. Now let's double click on this, and you see it has given us a color to pick. So you see it's turning red, it's turning black, whatever color I pick here. Now let me just look for something that is actually going to show let me look for something shouty, so that you could actually spot the difference that I'm going to actually incur in this place. Now look at this, is that true that I wrote. Now let me drag it to this place. Do you discover that? Let me make is that true bigger. Let me make it big. Okay, now this is that true. Now let me make it a little bit bigger. Now it's bigger. Now look at this, is that true? I bring it up, I bring it down. You can discover that it is staying behind the Nigeria is good, is staying behind, is that true? Now let me come to this place. Let me put this here. Now let me come to this place where they wrote Nigeria is good. Let me take Nigeria is good up, which means it should show before the second one. Now I'm placing it up. You can discover now that Nigeria is good has stayed in front of is that good that I wrote with red. Do you understand? Now let me move to a clearer, let me call it a little whiteboard for today's discussion. Now I just opened a new tab here. Now let me write a letter and make it very big. Let me write N. It's in white color. I'm going to change it. N. For now, let me put this as okay. Let me make this color. Now I've put N. Now but then I want to show you something. Watch carefully. Now look at this. What I just did was to hold, I came to this place. Immediately I came, my arrow, my cursor changed. You see, my cursor changed to this, and then I dragged. Sorry, come here, we click OK, and then when you come here, yeah, as you can see, it's increasing. So that's exactly what I do. And if I want to reduce it, as you can see, it's reducing whatever way I actually make it. Now this is our N, and I'm going to click OK. Let me come here and type another letter, which is another layer. Don't forget, anything you do forms a layer. I told you in the first course, anything you do forms a layer. Now let me put the short form of Nigeria, which is what? NG. I put OK, and then I come here and I put on my cursor tool, and let me drag this and make it more, let me make it very big. Shall we change this color? Oh, it's true, let's make use of green. You know, Nigeria is green. We are green in color. We are really green. Let me make use of light green and dark green. Yep, light green and dark green. Now, do you discover that G here is staying behind, G here is staying in front of N, as you can see. Now let me come to this place and let me switch this. What do you see? N is now staying in front of G and G is behind. Now for example, I just want to design something, and then I'm sure you must have seen some designs that actually the letters are staying behind each other. I don't mind the font for this one, but you discover that the G is now staying behind the N. We could just play around with it however we want. Do you understand? Now let's just to make it a little bit fun. Let me add another letter. Now let me put Niger area. Let me just use the letter A. Don't forget, I just clicked this button, this confirm button up here, and then I came here, and like I showed you in the other time, I'm dragging this A. Oh, A is looking really, really big. Now let me do something like NGA. Now let's put this here and put this here, and let me put this A. Now I want this N to stay behind the A, and let me change this G color so that we could make something a little bit much more fun out of it, so it will be clear. Now I want this N to stay behind the G, the A, just like this G is staying behind the N. All I need to do is to come to this layer. Where is my N? This is my N, which means if I'm to follow an order, N comes before A, then G. But then I want N to stay behind A. What do? I put A first. What do you see? A has now become the father of these many nations that we are seeing here. Now let me drag this a little bit. Okay, and let me bring this N here. I'm not trying to design anything particularly. I just want to show you how to make use of these tools. Now what do you see here? We have NAG, nag. Yeah, we have something like nag. Now do you now understand how to make use of all this this layer? It's as simple as that. If I'm to make a shape, let me come here and let me pick on something different this time around. Now, wow, let's make a big circle like our mother's cooking pot. Now, look at this circle. I just made this little pink looking circle. Now, let me change the color. Let me change the color of the circle. I'll just come to this place. I'll click this small box that is inside this place. Don't forget. Now I'm going to click OK here, and I'm going to click this small box. What are we going to change it to? Let's still work with the green. Now maybe we'll make it something. No. Let's make it something a little bit lighter, just for the purpose of design. Now we want this big circle, like our mother's cooking pot. We want it to stay behind all of this. And if you want it to stay behind all of this, what are you going to do? Logic. You just bring it down to the last. What is it? Where is it? This is it. This is our little boy here, staying behind everything. Now this is as simple as it. Now if you want to delete a layer, it's very simple. All you just need to do is come here and click delete layer, and that's all. Now assuming you don't want that, you just click Ctrl+Z, and you can see that it has returned back to its place. Another way to delete a layer is to come to this place, click on that layer, and then do what? Click delete on your keyboard. What did I say? It is back. I came here, I didn't click on G, I didn't click on A. I want this circle we made to delete. So what do? I click delete. Aha, and you can see it has deleted. Now before we go, I just want to show you a little bit of another part of the Photoshop that actually makes use of design. Now it's a little bit hidden now, but let me just do it. Now what you do, come to this place, or come to any layer you want to work with. Come to any layer you want to work with, and do what? Double click. Now I'm coming to A, and I double click. Now there is going to be this window that will come out, and this is a whole lot of styling tools that you see here. We may not cover everything in this lesson. We're going to continue the remaining in the other lessons, but let's move to a little bit good level. Now one of the major things that you work with, let me just start with the ones you're going to be using very, very well. Now I'm sure you must have seen designs that has shadows. Do you understand? Shadows. I'm going to work with shadow first, and this is it. I just clicked on shadow. What did it do? It made this A to have a shadow. You may not be seeing it, but there are some little buttons you could click on this place that are going to increase the shadow. Now look at this. Do you discover that as I click distance, the distance between A and this shadow is increasing? Do you understand? Now, what of this spread? Spread actually diffuses the shadow. What did I say? It diffuses the shadow. Now let me bring this shadow here. You can see the shadow is still there, but then let me increase the spread. Do you discover that it is now a little bit diffused? Now let me if you really want to observe this, let me show you something. In this place, for example, let me remove this. Now coming to this place, let me just do a little circle. I know this is not circle though, it looks like an egg, but I'm gonna call it circle anyways. Now I'll click on this. Don't forget, I double clicked. I'll click on drop shadow. I want to explain what the spread is. Now, what do you see? Do you see that it diffused around? It diffused. Now, let me make this a little bit. Do you see? It's going back and diffusing around. As simple as that. Now, what about the size? Just like the name, it increases the size. Before it was covering just this small part, but as I increase the size, it has become very, very big. Now, one thing that these shadows actually do, it gives a little bit of 3D effect. Now, let me delete this. I just clicked on delete on my keyboard and it's going to delete. As simple as that. Now, let me come to this A. As you can see, I want to do something really, really nice. I want to increase the spread of the shadow so that it could be obvious. I'm going to increase the distance and the spread. I just want to show you what I mean by the little bit of 3D effect. Okay, and that's it. Now, what do you observe? You observe that there is this shadow thing that makes it looks like this our big A here is actually more like a building. Let me put it that way. Something that is really standing and then it's casting a shadow. That's just simple. Now look at this. Let me show you something. When it comes to shadow, there's a way you can switch the direction. Now it's facing this angle. I could come here. Do you discover that it changed? Just as I'm clicking this, be looking at this big A. It's changing. It's changing. It's changing. It's changing. It's changing. As you can see, so that's another function of this place. Now there is what I call noise. It's actually not too needed when it comes to design, but you could actually make use of it actually, but I don't really make use of noise. Noise actually just kind of give this kind of distortion, but if you know photography, you understand what noise is all about. Now as we can see, we've understood the little things, the general things about shadow. And one thing you should take note is that if you don't want to see this effect, everything you did here, you don't want to see it, maybe you just want to observe the difference, you come to this place and click on effect. Don't forget, when I double click this place, the effect window is going to pop up. I click OK. Now let me click on this eye. Don't forget, I told you that eye is all about making things to disappear or to hide things. Now I click on this. Do you see that it just vanished? And I click it back. Whoop! Voila! It's back. Gone. It's back. It's as simple as that. Now basically, this is what you could make use of shadow for. Now another thing we could actually do with this whole thing here, now we could play around with let me remove this. Okay, no, let me remove this. Or let me leave the shadow actually. I was just contemplating whether to use the shadow or not, but let me leave the shadow. Now look at the outer glow. If you can look carefully, now let me enlarge this picture so that you could see the real and spot the true difference. Let me bring this here, and then let me enlarge this. Okay. Let me just enlarge it a little bit for us to see. Now I want you to take note of something. Look at this, our big mama A here. Now let me double click on this, or double click on this, and then now I came to outer glow. As I clicked outer glow, what do you notice? You discover that there is something yellowish that's, let me come here, okay, there's something yellowish that came out from all the sides. If you can look at this hand that is showing on my screen, you will discover that there is something yellow. Now let me click it out. Disappeared. It's back. It's gone. It's back. It's gone. Now basically this is just used for designs when actually making a little bit of typography, but you may not really use this one, but it is very it actually adds style to our designs. Now before we go for today and we move to our next part of this course, and I talk about every other thing that you can see here, now let me just talk about the pattern overlay. The pattern overlay. What do I mean by the pattern overlay? Now what pattern actually does, permit me for using just A in today's lesson. The pattern, don't forget, we talked about drop shadow, and then we talked about the outer glow. Now the third one is the pattern overlay. Now the pattern overlay simply brings up a pattern, brings up a set of designs, which I'm going to show you right now, and then it encompasses whatever you are clicking with that design. What do I mean? Let's come here, pattern overlay. As you can see, let me drag this here so that you could see, and then I'm going to click on pattern overlay. What do you see? Our A was green color before, Abi, right? Now it's what? It's not having much of a color per se, although it has gray color, but then you can see that there's a little bit of designs in it. Now let me click on this. You will discover that there are actually different styles. You could download more of yours, which I'm going to show you later on in this course when we move fully into projects and designing some other stuffs. Now you can discover that this, as I'm clicking, it's changing. What is it doing? This is a set of pattern, right? This is a set of pattern, and what is it doing? It is filling the whole space that the color green occupy and the A occupy with a pattern. That's as simple as that. It is filling this whole thing with this pattern. Now what was the first thing that I talked about? Drop shadow, number one. And what does drop shadow do? Let me remove this. It puts a shadow, it gives a little bit of 3D effect and drops a shadow. Outer glow adds glow into the sidelines of every line on the typography, on the text you're using. Now let's click on outer glow. As you can see, this is what it does. Now what does pattern overlay does? It actually fills the space of the letter or the sentences that you're using, whatever be the case, with a particular pattern. Alright guys, that will be all for today. If you are new to this channel, please do subscribe. Tell a friend about this channel. It's free. Everything we do here is free, and if you have questions, you could email us, or you could just simply ask it down in the comment section below. Thank you very much. My name is Amazing Toluwa.